Hello and welcome to Interactive Distractions, episode number 444. My name is Christopher Riccio, and I am here with Travis Baum.
Hello.
Jason A. Striker.
Oh, hi. How are you?
And Jeff Chorney.
What up?
And we have, there's going to be a lot of talk today about games. So we're going to jump right into that in a bit. And I think that's going to be the whole show. But first, we do have to see what's going on this week. So why don't we start with Jason this week? Jason, what's up, buddy?
I got a birthday coming up tomorrow. Not my birthday. It's my son's birthday. So we've been kind of prepped for that. Griffin's been making note of all the games that he wants on Steam and on the MetaQuest.
Nice.
And each day he
can
comes
have all
in,
his friends over and watch Nightmare on Elm Street. Sleep over.
I wish. That'd be great.
They're all going to join the VR party.
No, we're gonna do. What are we doing? Stars and Strikes. We're doing.
Nice.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Which is like a bowling
And
alley. Laser tag.
I was going to say, are you bowling? Like, what are you doing at Stars and Strikes?
Well, I won't be bowling because I have no depth perception, so that doesn't really work. But we're doing laser tag. We're doing the arcade. We're doing everything that they have to offer. So, excited for that. Oh, he's also going to have his first caffeinated drink.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Did
And
you guys do the whole cake thing on his first birthday?
Yeah, we did that.
Okay.
We
I didn't know that was
We do cake things for every birthday.
And just, are you talking about like the cake where the smashable cake? Like
Yes.
you can get, yes.
Yeah, he
Like,
had
no,
a
I
smash
thought
cake.
like a thing here. I'm not sure if it's caught on there or what, but I've noticed a few people do it is on their child's first birthday, they get their first slice of cake. Period.
Oh, really? No, weird.
Yeah.
Well, I guess maybe it could have been his first.
We fill them with sugar early, Jeff.
Well, no, what I know, the tradition that I know is that on your first birthday, like you get them their own little cake. It's about this big around, right? And only about that big.
It's called a smash. Yeah,
it's literally called a smash cake. You just put it right in front of them, and you just wait,
let them go ham.
And yeah, exactly. See what they do. And
I still do that. So
it was. I don't know what Griffin was like, Jason, but he
was very timid.
Yeah, my son was that way. Like he would just he grabbed a little bit and then was just like taste it. My daughter, like
nice,
2 hands straight in. I'm like, all right, there you go. That's what this is all about.
Yeah, nice. But yeah, that's
happy birthday, Griff.
Yeah, happy birthday, Griff. He's
7.
He's gonna be 8. Yeah,
8. He's gonna be 8. Okay.
Yep. And it's a big day for him. Big day for us.
Yeah.
Big day for fun.
Awesome.
Anyway, almost driving.
Yeah.
Big
Jeff
fun
Shorty,
for day.
tell me what's up.
What is up? What have I done lately? I don't really remember this past week, but today we went to Pickle Fest, the first ever Toronto Pickle Fest.
Bitch, I would love to go to one of those.
I need to know what this is. I'm sorry.
So T told me about it yesterday or the day before, and I'm not a huge, I don't hate pickles. I hate them on burgers, but that's about it. I like them by themselves. And she's like, oh, there's this Pickle Fest happening at this brewery downtown.
Oh,
and I'm like, okay. She's like, we should probably. It was one of those like, she kind of made fun of it, and then was kind of like,
oh no, she was unironically, yeah, she wanted 100%. To go to that. Well, listeners, if you don't know, if you know anything about Jeff's wife Tanya, if you've been a long time listener of the show, or if you've hung out around her during like an Indus Fest or any event like that, you will understand that she is addicted to pickles. So the fact that she tried to the fact that she tried to feint interest to you, wouldn't this be cool? Wouldn't this be neat? That's like Jeff being like, GameStop won't be EB Games won't be a bad idea if we happen to pass by. No, Jeff wants to go into EB Games.
Tell T, I still remember the pickle pops from
the pickle pops. Yeah,
from Sarah's house.
Oh man, that's
man.
So she ran that by, and at first I was kind of like, I don't know, because the weather has been shit here the last few days, and it's outdoors. And then I was like, okay, yeah, sure, let's do it. Like I'm sure we won't be there for like too long and whatever. So she had the tickets really quickly, which kind of leads me to believe that she already had the tickets.
She's a co-founder of the Pickle Fest.
I find that hard to believe.
I know, right?
Very, very hard.
I don't give her shit for this at all because like I do the exact same shit with like video game stuff. So it's like
that game I just purchased. I've been thinking about buying this, and
I've had that forever. Yeah, sure you have. Yeah. You've had that PlayStation 5 forever? Didn't it? It just came out today.
That just came out today, right?
Yeah. So anyway, it's a festival at a brewery, and they had a bunch of they had 50 vendors that do different types of pickles or fermented stuff. So it wasn't just pickle. They had sauerkraut, mustard, I don't know, pickled eggs. I've never had a pickled egg. No one. I would try one. I've never had one. So we went, and it was fun. We had some of the food we had. I just had a basically with the equivalent of like a Reuben sandwich because they had a pickle pizza, which I've had before, and I kind of think it's too overpowering to put on a pizza, but that's what T got, and it was okay. They had a pickled donut, which was interesting.
Okay,
what the fuck are they doing up there? Dog?
I don't know. That's bad.
It's a regular donut, but the icing was I don't know if it was made with dill pickle juice, but it was green. It tasted like dill pickle, and they had what's it called? Man. Flamin' Hot Cheetos on top of it.
Oh yes.
It wasn't awful.
I can't. No.
You guys are monsters,
dude.
I'm moving.
Yeah, I had a bite expecting to hate it, but it was okay. Even had a dude there, a couple guys, they own a restaurant, they were shucking oysters, which is
hell yeah.
And those are awesome. Of course, Tanya didn't touch that, but I had a couple of oysters and some big meaty boys from the West Coast. I've never had a West Coast oyster. They've always been East Coast. So that was a little bit different. If you like more meatier stuff, how some people don't want to try an oyster because they're kind of like snot texture. These are not that. Raw anyway.
Yep.
So I took back some pickles, and what else did I get? I got some kimchi actually. There's a vendor there who had pretty good kimchi, and some sauerkraut, and Tanya got some other pickles. So yeah, that was fun. That's what we did today for a couple hours. We went there literally at opening, and by the time we left, the place was fucking packed.
Oh, wow.
It was, the lineup to get in was probably at least half an hour, which doesn't seem long, but it's long. Pickles. Yeah, for something like that, it's pretty long. So we were in and out of there.
Pickle Fest.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, and the lineups for all the vendors were getting pretty long, especially the food ones. So we were in and out of there. We stayed for maybe a couple hours, an hour and a half. We were back home by like 1:30. So that was fun.
That's late for me. I'm usually in bed by a healthy 10:30, man.
Well, in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was this after. Yeah, he's talking about.
Yeah, this was today. This was this morning. This all went down. Yeah, the opening was at 11. We got home probably around 1, I think.
Okay.
I ordered a PS5 SSD, which arrived yesterday. So I'm going to try to put that in tomorrow. So wish me luck.
How big?
They're pretty easy.
1 terabyte.
1 terabyte? Nice.
1 terabyte, yeah. I just got the cheaper one that was on sale. I think it was $100 here. I think it was $50 down there. I think it was on sale for.
Okay.
So
it was that clocks out
cheap here. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that. So finally I don't have to delete a big game every time I'm done playing it on there. So that should be interesting also too. Me trying to install
I got one of those Xbox expansion cards from Woot for like $90, which is a pretty good deal.
Holy shit. That's a really good deal. I bought one of those around launch time, and it was not $90.
No, they're usually like $129 or something like that. So
they are probably.
That thing literally just slides in. You're
stick
done.
It in there.
Yep, stick it in there. Give it to her.
Yeah, the price though, I don't know if it's worth the ease of use, but it's definitely easy just to throw in there.
Sure. Yep.
But yeah,
I haven't had that much of a problem recently because I've been finding myself. I've been finding myself once in a while being like, do I need to make my hard drive space get a little more space so I can stop deleting games? But like at the end of the day, like deleting games and reinstalling something doesn't bother me because of the fact that I find like internet speeds, if you can manage gigabit internet somewhere, I don't have any issues with being able to.
Yeah, it's not that big of a deal.
Just download it again. And like I think Spider-Man took 20 minutes. I mean, it took longer than that to install it from a disk. It took an hour for it to install. Wow, really?
Yeah, like 45 minutes to an hour. I don't know the exact time when it was like 40 minutes later, and it still said like 90 or like 87. I was like, all right, I can go do something else for a bit. And that was from the disk.
Mine didn't take that long.
No, yeah, mine did. It was definitely it was definitely like 37-ish when I said I'm gonna walk away. So unless that last bit happened really quickly, which could have, that's kind of tends to happen. But my ADHD when it comes to games, that's why I kind of like games being on the hard drive, because I'll just get the urge to play something for like 15-20 minutes, and I'll just be like, okay, well, what do I have to play on here? And it's like 3 games installed or 4. I'm like, okay,
I do that too.
So I like to have that option to have a bunch on there.
Yeah,
but that's about it.
I have an additional 1 terabyte in mine, and I'm not going to upgrade it until the 4 terabyte ones come down. I'll just deal with it at this point. And I
think 2 is more than enough.
Like, yeah, well, it's been tight the past couple of games that have come out, because they're like Baldur's Gate was 130 gigs and things like that, right? So, and my Destiny didn't even update because it said that it didn't have enough hard drive space, enough disk space. So
that's when you know it's time.
I went back and I looked at some of the things that were on there, and there's a lot of games that I'm just like, probably not going to play that again right now, and just get rid of it. But yeah, I'm the same way. It's like I always keep things. Well, I have been meaning to get back to that game, so I'll keep it on there. Yeah, yeah. So like Cyberpunk is still on my drive, even though I haven't gone back to it. And like I got the platinum on Horizon Forbidden West, but it's still on my drive just in case I want to go, I don't know, finish something up before, or power up some of my legendary gear, or I don't know, it's that kind of thing.
Yeah, no, I totally understand that. I get that for sure.
You'll have no problem. You'll have no problem putting the
watch the video. On YouTube. I'm like, I can do this. So tomorrow, if you see a tweet from me saying I busted my PlayStation, it wasn't that because of that at all.
Yeah, Travis, I don't have gigabit available, so it's a thing. Like I'm at 350, which is pretty good. I'm not. It's nothing to. I don't really complain about the speed of my internet, but it's not gigabit. So
yeah. If I didn't have those speeds, I would definitely have a bigger drive in there for sure.
Yeah, I just right now my internet's like $75 a month for 350, and I just don't want to pay more than that right now. So. I don't know. We'll see. I'm really hoping that, I was hoping that Google Fiber was going to come by, but I think they're done with that stuff.
Yeah, I think so.
And
I don't know, man. They keep sending me emails saying they're coming to Marietta. So
they're in Roswell. They're just not in my neighborhood in Roswell. It really pisses me off. And I'm like, just come here. I want to get rid of my cable company. I really do. So, but cool. Travis, what's up?
Hey, my car broke down.
Hey, fun.
Yeah.
What are you driving now?
Did you try to install a hard drive into it? Is that what happened?
Yeah. No, I was having some electrical issues with the braking on the Tesla. So every time I pushed in the brakes, it would like kick back like some loud noise and some physical feedback and everything. And I just didn't. You don't tend to feel very safe driving when your brakes don't work properly. So went in and sent it in. I was dreading that there was an issue that I'm dreading. We have under the building parking in our apartment complex, and our parking spot is next to where the trash cans are. And our apartment complex recently changed to them taking the trash out only once a day, and there have been complaints from people around our community saying that it's a lot stinkier. This place is really nice, but the smell of trash on the last day of trash, being taken out. It's real brutal. People were complaining about how there was some rodents, and up to the point where rodents started attacking. When it gets colder, they start crawling into people's cars and munching on their electrical components.
Yeah. Well, there's nothing electric in a Tesla, so you should have been okay.
You would think I would be completely fine. So this actually happened the first time when I had my Honda before I got an electric vehicle. And rats attacked it, ate it up, had to get it fixed, cost about $300-400. I had an issue with my Tesla about 6 months ago, same issue, rodent damage. And when this happened, I'm like, oh, this is clear shot. More rodents got into the the engine block, in quotes, and chewed up some things. But no, this was a simple hardware error. I was actually surprised when I got my invoice back that it will cost me no money to get it fixed. So we just got it back yesterday. We had a loaner Tesla for a couple of days. I think the service was pretty good. They were fast, prompt, and no complaints there.
Good.
Me and some friends went out to Hollywood to go see Patton Oswalt. I mentioned that last week.
That's right.
Something that we were doing. So yeah, that was a really good time. Patton Oswalt does this monthly show at this place called the Largo, which is really neat. The Largo is like there's a theater, and then on the other side of the lobby there is like a small cafe mini bar type area, and there was a plaque next door to it that said that all of these like famous jazz musicians and comedians that have played this room, including the likes of like Lenny Bruce, who's one of my all-time favorite comedians. So it was cool to kind of go into a place where there's a lot of history. And we went to the show, and I just have this, people, if you've never met me, I'm a pretty short guy, about 5'7". So most people I'm standing around are taller than me. And I have this curse whenever I do live music or any type of non-assigned general seating. I always get plugged behind the tallest person in the audience. Like without a doubt, I always get stuck there. And that happened this time. We're in my seat waiting for the show to start. I have this gentleman, lovely person, I'm sure, with his hair styled in the biggest, tallest bouffant you would ever see in your entire fucking life, which would be completely fine with me if during the show you sat there and you just stayed still, and I can lock in a spot around your beautifully styled hair and sit there. But no, what does he do the entirety of the show? And if you're not going to appreciate the sight gag if you're just listening to the audio version, but his head was constantly on a swivel, on like a 15-degree swivel all night. So all night, what am I doing? Fucking swiveling side by side all damn night, because this asshole couldn't keep his fidgety ass still. So, but regardless, it was cool. It was a fun show. All things considered, Patton Oswalt, he rents this place out once a month, and he brings in 2 or 3 young and upcoming comedians that he has curated to want to kind of like give them their first shot, but outside of like a smoky comedy club situation. He wants to give them kind of like theater style experience, to give them some of that, some of that experience. So it was a good time. I liked it. The openers were good. Patton Oswalt was great as expected. And looking into the next week, there's really not much else going on except video games. So Chris, what about you, my man?
Not a ton to report. I am now in the part of the year where I have enough vacation left over that I've just stacked it like a day per week, so I can have 4-day work weeks throughout the rest of the year. So that's nice. That'll start next week. Tomorrow, we're getting close to Halloween, and we're bringing the kids to the pumpkin patch to get their pumpkins, and we'll see what else happens there. They like the place that we go has this big corn maze, and it's all it's a thing. It's like this thing that we do every year with the in-laws. So it should be fun. Our third child is coming with us. That's our next door neighbor, who's their kid is like best friends with.
Scared me for a second. I thought I was way behind.
I was going to be like, what?
Yeah. Oh, by the way, our next door neighbors are really close to us, and so we're like, I think Jason and maybe Travis know Jerry, but they're good friends with us too, and they're both families are in the same neighborhood, so all of our kids hang out a lot. It's it's a good situation to be in. Doing that tomorrow. And I really don't think there's anything else going on. So,
all right.
I mean,
that's
uneventful is a good thing, right? So usually,
especially when video games are happening.
Yes, video games are happening. So let's talk about that. So we're saving Spider-Man for last, right?
Oh, did that come out?
Yeah, that game came out.
I must have missed that.
Weird.
That game that is the reason that we delayed the show. Yeah.
Oh,
that one.
Okay. Oh yeah.
So,
I don't know. I'll try and think of something.
Think of something else, right?
Yeah.
Does it have anything else besides Spider-Man? Besides me, I guess.
I bought Wonder. That's as far as I got with it, though. Hey, there it is.
You played the step 1 really well.
Yep.
Did you download it or go to a store and buy it physically?
I downloaded it.
Okay.
I don't buy that stuff anymore.
I don't do physical things anymore. I put a little bit of time into it. The majority of my time was spent on something else, and I'll get to that in a minute. But I got through essentially the first world of it, and very much a 2D Mario game. There's a lot of things that it plays exactly like you expect it to play. Controls feel really good. There's you get some of the new stuff right out of the gate, like the elephant power up is like one of the first things that you get.
Nice.
So that's pretty fun. Like you can collect water and like you spray water out of your trunk and stuff like that. The stages are really well done. Every stage has like that dimension. Well, so kind of the hook for this one, right, is you're not in the Mushroom Kingdom, you're in the Flower Kingdom, right? It's a different kingdom. And
oh shit.
Big surprise, Bowser shows up and he grabs like the Wonder Flower. And after he grabs the Wonder Flower, he runs into the castle, like the big castle of the Flower Kingdom, and turns into the castle. Like he and the castle merge. So Bowser is a big floating fortress.
It only makes
shooting
sense.
out. Yeah, of course. It's all very realistic. So as he's moving across the Flower Kingdom, like all the stages are like essentially the roads to the homes of the people that live there, and their homes get turned into like jails, and then there's other like the smaller castles that get turned into other fortresses that are at the end of all the stages. So that's kind of the hook. Each stage has has one of the flowers in it that kind of shoots you to a like almost like a mirror dimension and kind of mixes things up a bit. I know that one of our community members, Cray, was a big fan of the second stage. When you flip over, like all the piranha plants jump out and they start singing. And it's really interesting because
that was pretty cool. I like that little clip you put in there.
Yeah, and they'll give you get a fire flower like in that stage, and if you shoot and kill the piranha plants, like the chorus will change because you've reduced the number of voices in it. Huh. So they did a really good job of just making that very immersive in that way.
Is that something you'd want to do in the game, or is that something you should avoid for that level?
I mean, if you hit them, they're going to kill you. So
okay, so it's okay. So they're still assholes, is what you're saying.
Yeah, they're still assholes. Okay. They're just singing now
because they look so cute when they're all singing and shit. And I thought that was cool.
Yeah, and they're all in unison. It's very cool.
It's like the remedy of Patapon.
Yeah, that's true. But like one of the things that you see a lot when you switch into that mirror zone is a lot. Everything's moving around. Like all the pipes are transposing and going into different areas. And one of them had in the first world had a really cool hook where you switched over and immediately you got a star, but there were falling stars coming from the sky, and you're trying to blitz through the stage as quickly as possible. Like you only get a small amount of time in like the other on the other side, and you're trying to collect a seed, like one of the seeds. So that, but that's, some of those are super creative from what I've seen so far, and even the fortresses have them. So like the first fortress I got to, it had one of those too. And the Koopa kids are back. So the Koopa kids are at the end of the castles. So I was, and they like you jump into that that little battlefield with the Koopa kid, and he gets some of Bowser's wonder power from like the wonder flower he stole, and kind of morphs into something like the first one is just armored up, and he can actually do like the butt pound that Mario does. He can do that. So it's but so far I've only put about an hour into it, but I'm enjoying it. It definitely feels very 2D Mario. It's very easy to pick up and play. But the level design is super interesting, and I think they've gone. There's a lot of creativity in this, and I'm really excited to see what they've done with some of these other stages. It's good stuff.
Everyone's making this really hard for me to not get it. Just like,
I mean, it's worth getting. Like it's I really, really enjoy the 2D Marios for the most part. And I mean, I can't really tell you where this one's going to land, but I'm super impressed by that first world. Like, it was a lot of creativity, a lot of good stuff.
If it's a lot of new shit, I think, like I mentioned this in the Discord, which is open now for everyone, by the way. You should join it. I just don't think I like 2D platformers anymore, and I'd never liked the new Super Mario Brothers games. I haven't liked.
Didn't either.
Okay.
I take that back. New Super Mario Brothers on the DS, like the really, really old one that was in like
the first one,
that one I played a lot of. But honestly,
I liked it because of the nostalgia, but I didn't beat it or anything.
Oh, I did everything in that game, but that was but after that, I didn't really play any of the others. Like I bought New Super Mario Brothers U, and I bought them all, and I just didn't play them.
Just didn't bother with them.
Yeah. But this one, I kind of sat down and just it immediately felt familiar, and immediately brought me back to that feeling of playing Super Mario World for the first time.
Okay, yeah. I'll play those ones every once in a while, like a few levels.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't jump at it yet. I'm
it's not going to go down in price. That's for sure.
Well, no, I know. But what I'm saying is, that I'm going to obviously give it a lot more time this week.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm going to wait on it. Definitely.
Yeah, and I'm hoping to still be as high on it as I am today. But yeah, it was fun. It was fun.
I was when I was picking up Spider-Man, I almost picked up the new Sonic game, but then I was like, well, I'm going to wait for Travis to give me his impressions on that, because that's definitely something he would have picked up day one. So, because my whole platforming thing, I'm going to hear what he has to say about that one.
There's a new Sonic game?
Yeah, it came out like a week ago.
Really?
Yeah, I had no idea. I had no clue.
I didn't either.
Yeah, really? It's like supposed to be pretty good.
I'm actually surprised that you're surprised that I would be interested in playing a Sonic game at launch.
Well, I know. Well, that's the thing. No, I'm not surprised.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I said I'm going to wait and hear what your impression is of it, because I'm sure you're going to talk about that later. Is what I'm getting at.
Is that Sonic Superstars?
Sonic game?
I'm being sarcastic.
Oh,
anyone who knows Travis knows he does not like the Sonic. But no, I did almost buy that because I was like, hey, Sonic, I forgot about that. And then it's supposed to be pretty decent, kind of a good throwback with its issues. And then I was like, what am I doing?
Yeah,
especially if I was to pick up that over Mario, that would just be dumb.
Huh.
So
you definitely want to pick up. Sonic will drop in price. Mario, not so much.
Oh yeah, Sonic will be like, for sure, will drop. But I probably won't get that
idea. I had no idea. So Sonic Superstars is what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I had no idea. I didn't realize. I thought Sonic Frontiers was the last one that came out. I didn't realize there was a new one.
Don't worry, Chris. Nobody else did.
Yeah, obviously. I don't know. Maybe we should start doing new releases again.
Oh god. Yeah.
Is there any other game that we're talking about besides Spider-Man today?
Yeah, I have a couple things.
Okay, go Jeff. Yeah. I want to break. You come back to me for my last one.
Well, I played some more Forza.
Okay.
going to be playing that for a while, I think, just because I like the racings. I beat Assassin's Creed Mirage, so I finished that up.
Nice. How long did it take you?
I think the final...
Is there a timer?
There is. I'm just trying to remember what it was. I think it was around 25 hours.
That's not bad. Okay.
But I didn't do a lot of the side stuff. I did more of the side stuff at the beginning of the game when I wanted to have the different currencies you can use to open up shit. But once I got stuff I really liked, I kind of stuck to it, and I didn't do a lot of side stuff. So when you see people say that the game's like 12 to 15 hours long, that's kind of not really the case. I think if you're going to do the whole thing, like the whole main quest plus a few of the side things, I think you're looking at 20. I'd say, to be safe, unless like you are really, really good and you never die and you do everything perfectly, which probably won't happen your first time through. But I ended up really liking it towards the end. I was kind of iffy on it last week, but by the time I finished it, I was like, okay, I like what they're doing with it. A lot of the gripes kind of get negated when you open up different abilities and different tools and stuff you can use, and you kind of get and you're gonna get like a good loop of like how to handle the assassination, like arenas, I guess you can call them that. And like when you get to a certain point, you have to assassinate like one of the main people, and you kind of know what you're doing. The parkour still sucks. Like it's bad. I don't know. Like I've seen some people say it's about the same as Valhalla, but I don't remember being as frustrated as in Valhalla as I was with this. Like you get stuck on shit all the time, and Basim will go the way you do not want him to go a lot of the time, especially indoors when you're in like more like packed in or like tighter spots. Like you're kind of rolling the dice with what you're trying to tell him to do, and the combat again, it's not the best. You're best to avoid it, honestly. I think they touch up on that and make the parkour better. And after playing Spider-Man, they just need to make the combat the Arkham style combat, like the Shadows of Mordor, the Arkhams, the Spider-Mans, because I think that would be good. The first ones were kind of like that, just not as deep.
And I was about to kind of interject and say I'm surprised because I remember not having many problems with the combat in the first couple games, and now that if I'm thinking back on it, in reality, the first two games, all I did was counter. All I did was block the parry counter. Yeah. I would always just wait. Like I didn't really do anything in the combat. It was all just parry counter. And
that's all you really need to do. Good. And they attacked you one at a time.
Yeah.
So it was like you just waited for that.
That's not good, is what I'm getting at. So
it's not.
It's not good at all.
No, but this they tried to do like the kind of the newer ones with the old ones, so you can still like parry and counter and stuff, but you have the enemies attacking you at the same time in certain situations, and one might light up with the red and one might light up with the yellow, which are two different buttons and things you're doing. So no matter what, you get hit in certain situations. So it's kind of a pain. But there are things you get later that totally just make it a non-issue because you can cheese your way through. Just drop a smoke bomb like in most Assassin's Creed, and then just assassinate them all, like 5 dudes in a row, and they're dead. But yeah, that's what those two things are just the two biggest things I think they need to change, and I think the second one will kind of do what they did. History will repeat itself. It will be like Assassin's Creed 2 to 1, I think. But yeah, I still recommend it. If you like Assassin's Creed, it's not going to change your mind if you don't. So,
did the story end up panning out a little bit?
I had to look up what the hell happened, really. Like on a more, that's not a basic. Like the story wraps itself up in a basic level with several things. I was like, why did this happen? And then I watch it, and I'm like, okay, that makes sense, especially if you played Valhalla. I didn't get to certain parts in Valhalla, so that never would have clicked with me. A lot of the stuff at the end, I never would have even thought about it. And it actually is really cool. But because I didn't beat Valhalla, I didn't have any of those connections, so I didn't get any of the stuff that are probably like the wow factor type stuff. But there is a pretty cool kind of like twisty thing that you don't have to play Valhalla to understand. But that I thought was pretty cool.
Okay, good.
I thought it was predictable, but it was cool. But yeah, that's the book closed on the Assassin's Creed.
Cool.
Yeah. I think that might be everything. Unless Jason played something besides Spider-Man, which I don't.
No.
Sorry.
All right.
I haven't played too much on it. The only thing that I'll add is I went ahead and gave up on Lords of the Fallen.
I forgot you were playing that.
Right.
Yeah, every gripe that I had, it just didn't necessarily go away. I found that things were getting worse.
Yeah, I was about to ask that.
Like it's one of those things where From Sauce created
From sauce on your chin.
they create worlds, and the reason why this is such a copied genre, like they found a sweet spot in creating a difficult game that tests you every step of the way. And I find that this game, as well created the world is, as well designed everything is, how pretty this game looks, I always found myself fighting against the developer than fighting the enemies in the game. Like they're just trying. I felt like they were just trying to trick you. Like you're in an area where like you're just kind of on a cliffside, and you can guarantee 6-7 times, like FromSoft will throw one guy hiding behind a wall trying to push you to your death. They'll sneak one of those guys in there. But no, Lords of the Fallen will sneak every enemy in that area to try to push you off, and it's so bad. And then there's tons of issues with enemy placement. Like the game is just way too packed of enemies. It makes the moment-to-moment discovery a chore, and that's not even including the lantern bullshit. You got to hold it up and impede your pacing and stuff. It's just not a fun game. I think they do a good job with a large swath of this entire development. Like the world is great. It's got really good music.
Yeah, really good. But
art direction's awesome. On paper, the floating between both worlds works for me. It's just that in application in this specific game, it's just not there. It's just not there for me. So I tried multiple times. After I said I quit, I tried again. Then I quit. Then I tried again. I got to the point where I had to just delete the game just so I wouldn't be tempted to try it again, because I know before Spider-Man came out that I would just keep going in and going in and going in, and I just kind of put myself out of my misery and deleted it. What's up?
The enemies pushing you is really funny to me, especially after playing Lies of P, because the early like Demon Souls did that a lot, but Lies of P they kind of got less and less the more From games that I played, and Lies of P also doesn't do it a lot. It does an early one, and I was like, oh shit, this is gonna happen a lot, and it doesn't, and so it got to a point where like hours and hours and hours go by, and I was like, oh look, there's a bright shiny thing I need to go get over there on this ledge, and I go over there and I get pushed off, and I just had to laugh because I'm like, they got me. Like they put you in this like false sense of security because they don't overdo that, and I was like, oh, that's funny.
where Lies of P really got me, same point but a different thing. The first 3 wooden bridges that you walk across in Lies of P, 100% will shatter and you will fall. Like the first 3, and then after that, they never do it again. It just goes away. They never do it.
Every other bridge, you're like,
it's going
guessing,
down.
And you're like, is this one going to fall? Okay, the last couple haven't fallen, but those first 3, man, those first 3,
and they're all the bridges are similar and they break in a similar spot. So I'd always just run and jump over that exact spot because I'm like,
that's such good game design, because it's like you're keeping the player on their toes, man.
And that's the stuff I love. Like if I'm constantly being reminded that you could do this thing to fuck me over, you're going to keep me on my toes in every best way imaginable. But when you're constantly just doing the pushing,
it's just predictable and just like annoying.
And it doesn't necessarily make the game easier knowing it's coming, because the game's so goddamn janky that it's so easy to fly off the edge. I think that was like really my big complaint with the gameplay, was the constant falling off to the edge. I think by the time Dark Souls 2 or Dark Souls 3 rolled out, FromSoft realized that there was a huge issue in players shouldn't die by swinging their sword. Like, they just shouldn't. So, like, any ledge in, like, Dark Souls 3, you can walk off of and fall to your death. But if you walk up to the ledge and just hit attack at the ledge, you will never, ever go over the ledge.
I never noticed that, because I thought I could always fall off by swinging my sword, even to this day. And when it didn't happen, I was like, oh, I got lucky there.
Yeah.
I never actually put that to the test.
Yeah, they put up an invisible wall when you're attacking, so you don't just, like, tip over the edge. Yeah.
Interesting.
And that needs to be in Lords of the Fallen desperately.
So you're not fallen.
I'm not falling for the Lords, that's for sure. But no, that's the only thing non-Spider-Man that I've been playing.
All right, should we save Spider-Man for next week, or?
Well, no. Let me. I got one more thing to touch on, and
that's right.
Yeah, and so I did. Once I started playing Spider-Man, I realized immediately that I needed to stop, because running 2 different action games with two different button configurations. Dude, I walked into Spider-Man and got my ass handed to me, because I was trying to dodge with R1 every single time. Whoops. So. Trying to finish up Final Fantasy 16, Final Fantasy 16. I'm really close, but I cannot pass up the opportunity to do side quests. I just can't. And I'm kind of glad that I didn't, because I know that, like, we've talked about this before, and I know that, like, Jason and Jeff, the two of you, more Jeff, I think, was talking about how some of them are just kind of throwaway, and if it's not a plus, you just stop doing them. And I tried to do that for a little while, and my completionist side of me just got the best of me. I'm like, I can't. I just got to do it.
Yeah,
I'm glad I did. Like, even some of the throwaway ones have, like, things they touch on later in the game that just are just like these cool little nods to what you're doing. Like, there's and just as a couple of examples, there's one where it just seems like a throwaway quest that you're just helping. It's in Dalamil, the inn that's in the desert, and it's like this guy is trying to be a baker, and he sucks at baking, and his bread always, like, collapses and shit like that, and you help him out, and eventually he comes up with an idea, and he creates this bread dish that looks like Drake's Fang, where the crystal is in the desert. And, great. That's cool. I'm glad that worked out for you. The bread is still falling. You just have, it just looks like Drake's Fang now. But later on in the game, like, literally, like, an act later, you see 2 kids in, like, the dining area of the hideaway, and they're eating these and talking about the Drake's Fang bread that they got from Dalamil. So it's just little touches like that, and it's like it's still kind of a throwaway quest. But what I realized as I was getting closer to the final act is that all of these characters that, one of the things that I don't know if you guys remember when I was talking about the demo, one of the things I didn't like was I didn't feel like I was attached to any of these characters. Now I'm attached to every motherfucking one of them, because like, as you do some of these side quests, they're all in a chain, and they're all, like, building to to like a final payoff at the end, right? So the side quests that you're doing, sure, you may just go and, kill some dudes and that's it. But they're like, the string of those side quests end up with this big payoff at the end. And with the, the very non-subtle, slavery storyline that we're trying to work out here. I'm always, trying to do whatever I can for the bearers, because fuck their masters. Like, every time I see one of their masters talking to the bear, I just want to fucking punch him in the mouth. But there's a set of quests that I found that basically, in Eastpool, you rescue a bunch of bears, and then you settle them in Eastpool after you clear it out. And Martha helps you out from Martha's Rest. and what ends up happening is that while they're trying to start their new lives in Eastpool, the Akashic attack, and they ask you for help, and Clive tells Wade, who's Wade is the guy that was in the demo, right?
Mm-hmm.
To basically ask the bears for help. And the bears like come back and they're like really, bitching about it and saying, oh, you're just trying to put us in, in front of your soldiers to save your shoulders and shit like that. Because that's what they're used to. And then, Wade asks for reinforcements and Martha shows up and basically gives a speech and everybody's on board now. So that's kind of weird. But anyway, after everything is all said and done, the bears now have a place to live. They want to defend it. And you have this conversation with Wade, and Wade starts talking about how he remembers his first mission with Clive.
Mm-hmm.
And the mission he's talking about is the one from the demo in the first chapter.
Yep.
And that was just like kind of a really cool throwback. And he's going through this mission. I can't believe you took out that Marlboro or whatever the fuck that flower was called. And he says like, yeah. Gabagool. And he's talking about like whenever he felt like he couldn't do it, like he would always look at how Clive handled that and moved on. And, that was a really cool throwback. Mm-hmm. And then you go back to Martha to get paid, and Martha opens up and gives you all this information about how she met Sid, and how she ended up getting into the business of freeing bears and trying to relocate them. Just really interesting stuff. And I noticed that as I started completing some of these side missions, I was learning more and more about all these characters that I have now become more attached to. Mm-hmm. There's some characters that I don't think they did a good job with. Like I'm not a fan of how they treated Jill the whole time, to be honest with you. But like a lot of the side characters, like Vivian, and like a lot of their storylines get, some good stuff to them. So yes, it is true that you can kind of blitz through and ignore some of those exclamation points. But if you're into the character development side of things, definitely go do them.
Agree.
But I was really trying to get it finished up today before the show, and I didn't quite do it. I've got like 2 quests left. I've got 2 hunts left, and then I'm going to fly to the end. We'll say it that way, try and not spoil things. But yeah, it's been great. I have my qualms. It's mostly with maps. Like, give me a fucking mini map, god damn it. And like whenever you get into like a dungeon area, why do I not have a map of the dungeon area that I'm in? Like, air quotes dungeon. Like there was a castle one of the castles I went in when I was on my way to one of the mother crystals, and there were 2 different directions I can go, and I'm like, okay, so I'll go this way first. Oh no, that looks like it's going to where I need to be, so I'm going to go this way instead. And it turns out that the second way I went is the way I'm supposed to go to continue the story. So once I realized that, I went and turned back to try and go down the other path, and they had locked the door behind me, and I couldn't get back to where I was. So they completely cut out the exploration for me, and that's really an issue for me.
I get it. Like I feel a map wouldn't have been difficult for them to add into there, but like
dungeon map and mini maps. Like,
but I found a pretty bit. You never come across more than a path of one or the other. Like, you never have like a triple path or anything.
Yeah,
like, it's always just one or the other.
More than 2. Yeah,
right.
I've never seen more than 2.
I think they rectify that well enough. And I hear you. What you're saying about having a map is completely true, but they have that. I think you hold down either L3 or R3, and you hold the stick down, and the camera kind of, essentially what it does is have Torgal point you in a direction for the next, for the campaign, and whatever direction he's pointing you to, going. I forgot what button that
was.
I forgot what button that was, because now if I hold down R3, all I get is either the chocobo shows up, or it tells me that I can't bring my chocobo out.
Then it's the other button. If that's R3,
I don't remember L3 doing anything. I'll have to try it again.
Yeah, so Torgal will point you towards the next step in the story, and you just go the opposite direction, and you can know with confidence that that's the side area that you need to explore.
I'll have to use that. Yeah. But honestly, none of that is as bad as the fact that they blocked the path to go back. I couldn't backtrack to go finish my exploration, and that was kind of annoying. But I mean, that's a small gripe. Small gripe for a fantastic game so far. I plan to finish it up tonight. I'll probably be able to finish it up tonight. So we'll see. Good stuff.
All right. So Spider-Man.
That happened.
It did.
I'm almost done, I think.
Are you
I'm
really?
almost done. Yeah, I've been playing a lot.
I've been playing a lot as well.
Well, I've been playing so much that they finally introduced goddamn antagonist. Venom. Finally.
I have not seen Venom.
Yeah.
I haven't even seen the suit yet.
Either.
Yeah, he comes up, pops up much later in the game. So.
I kind of figured he would. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's not a spoiler. They've talked about Venom being in the game, so I don't feel bad
he's in
about
all the
that.
trailers.
Yeah, exactly. So, but other than that, like I don't want to spoil too much because it's been a pretty story heavy game, if not a little lopsided, like towards Spider-Man, which it's kind of funny because he's got these very like life-threatening, like immediate, dangerous quests to go on, and Miles is just like, I'm hanging at my school. There's a senior prank. It's funny.
You're treating that as kind of probably a complaint with the lopsidedness and everything.
Not exactly. It's just because it's a little off-putting.
Where I'm at in the story, and I haven't seen Venom, but I have the suit. Mm-hmm. So the symbiote's definitely in play in my story, but I kind of like where Miles is for the most part of this playthrough, at least where I'm at in the game, because like there is a rift. There is a divide
there is.
Between some of these characters, and I think it helps accentuate that rift, and it really works for me so far. Like I actually find myself getting a little bit aggravated with Peter, not in a negative way, but like you're watching a horror movie and you're like, don't go in there, don't go in that room. What are you doing in that room? You're just going to go in that room and die.
What are you talking about?
And I'm doing the same. I'm like, Peter, what are you doing? Don't do that. This is a bad move. You should be doing this. So I find myself like, and again, not a complaint at the game. I like that I'm having these thoughts about these characters, but I have like so much empathy with what Miles is going through right now.
If they didn't touch on like the severity of like his situation, and his getting put off by Peter a little bit, if they didn't touch on that, I probably would be complaining about it. But they do bring that into play. So,
and they do a good job of doing that with the phone conversations, not just in cutscenes. They're constantly reminding you of these relationships that are being held together by literal threads. Yep. So, yeah, it's been terrific so far. I'm not as far in as you. I would say probably 12 to 15 hours in. I went in expectations wise, like understanding that this was going to be an iterative jump and not a generational leap, versus the first two games that we got. So I was preparing myself mentally for that. And I guess my expectations still, weren't as, safely prepared because it is very much the first game. Like, so much so, like I would consider it like a jump from Uncharted 2 to Uncharted 3 than I would a jump from Uncharted 1 to Uncharted 2.
God of War and God of War Ragnarok?
I think God of War Ragnarok did the jump, which was essentially what's the same game. I feel that they did a little bit of a better job, Sony Santa Monica did, with the iteration from God of War to God of War Ragnarok. I personally think so, but I think that Sony Santa Monica is slightly a little bit of a higher level than where Insomniac is right now. I think Insomniac's doing some insane stuff when it comes to how terrific their game runs, and maintaining ray tracing and finding ways to.
The first game that I've like, ray tracing really stands out in it in a good way.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. And they are wizards. They should put out.
Are you all playing on performance or
performance?
I'm not.
Oh,
I'm playing
know.
on fidelity.
Yeah. Give me
Yeah,
performance.
I'm playing performance too. Okay.
Yeah, I definitely want the frame rate there for sure.
Dude, I need to say that because I said it in the thing. Like, I don't think the swinging looks good in 60 frames to me. I think
agree.
it just looks more natural in 30. I'm just like, I mean, for me personally, like, you can't really disagree or agree. It's I look at it like it's the first game I've ever put on performance mode that's at a consistent 60 that I've said to myself, I don't think this feels right in 60. And I don't know if it's just the visual of the swing. I don't know what it is. It's just, I don't know if it's because of the movie, because I'm used to seeing him in a movie form. And I played the other, like the PS4 one was 30 frames. And I played Miles, and I played it kind of recently on PS5, but I don't know if I played on, I would have thought I played on performance, but maybe I didn't, or maybe I don't remember if the fidelity ran at 60. I don't remember.
I cannot stand by and let you normalize the 30 frames per second bullshit.
That's fine. I think it's totally fine.
I was going to say, I do think that might be one of the strangest things you've ever said, Jeff.
Hey,
I don't like this.
But to each their own. No, Jason, to each their own, man.
I know.
I
couldn't do it
Jason
anymore.
gets mad at 30 frames.
But like I said,
he's insulted by 30 frames.
Like I said, it is an iterative. And this game does look good. Like I agree. Like it does. It is a really, really good looking game. But it
does not feel any different.
I don't know. It is an open world game, so sometimes like you are going to come across some like NPCs and stuff like that are very prevalent in Spider-Man 2, where it's like you look at the characters and you really get a good look at them, and they look like they could be like character models in the Madden story mode or something like that.
Yeah,
like that,
dead
like
in the eye. Yeah,
they could be so.
They always look like they're surprised.
Yeah. It's so weird, but like I alluded to earlier, like it's super iterative. I was prepared for it in my mind, but not as prepared as I should have been to like. I like what I'm playing so much because I like the first game so much. So like everything is just tighter. I think combat's. I think they simplified combat a little bit, gave it a better control scheme. It took me some time to come to that conclusion, but now that I'm very into the game, I think the control scheme works really, really well. The game was kind of a challenge in the early goings.
Yeah,
in the first like 20, in the first 20 levels, I found myself kind of sweating out some battles, which I liked a lot because I knew that maybe like once I get into like the level 30s and whatnot, like I'm going to start getting really overpowered to where these fights aren't going to be as difficult. So I appreciated that there was like a little bit of a barrier to entry on the normal difficulty. And that was really good, but I like the swinging a lot. Again, feels the same, almost exactly the same as the first game, but the introduction of the wings just it's like the only.
I use the wings so much. Oh my goodness.
Me too. I find
Chris,
you're muted, Chris. Well, while he's getting there, I do wish one thing. I wish they didn't introduce the wings till a little bit later. Just to have that something to look forward to. Because they give it to you right away. And I was like, I need to get used to these controls again.
Like, no, I don't think I appreciated that because they didn't unlock fast travel right away. And you need to grind that out in order to get fast travel points to the different areas.
Oh, I'll never use fast travel.
You will. You will.
I think it depends on how big the area is.
When you have to go from Brooklyn to Harlem, you're going to use fast travel.
Meters, you're
going to use it. You'll use it. Maybe not like your first couple of rides through, but like there will get to a point. Like I love this game and I love swinging around.
Slog. Yeah.
Yeah, it can be.
What I was saying while I was on mute was associated with the wings, and I was just really impressed with how well that worked, right? Like out of the gate. It's like as soon as it's like, oh yeah, you have wings now, and I immediately knew how to use it. You know, it didn't. They didn't have to explain it. It was just really well done, and the controls feel really good with it. So yeah,
it's the only improvement from the first game that I feel is what I would like to call a generational leap from one game to its sequel. Like that was probably the biggest upgrade, and I think the game is way better for having these wings. It just makes swinging and flying, way more creative, an extra tool under your belt to make your traversal like super stylish and fun and addictive. So overall, I'm liking it like a lot. I just was kind of caught off guard that it's so much like the first game, even though I was preparing my mind for that to happen. Sure. I just would have liked to see like a couple of more like quality of life updates. Like I'm enjoying the side missions, not the story side missions, but like the side missions, like the ones that are like the activities and the collecting and stuff. They are more interesting than the first game. I'll give it that. But when you're like a level 30, 35 around there, like you're still doing them over and over again. And there's less to do this time around. I've noticed that there's a lot less of collecting to do. But you're still at the end of the day collecting.
And they bring them in while you're playing better too. Like I feel like you can just do them really quickly because they don't show you so many of them at one time. So it's easier to kind of get them done. And I've been doing them. I've probably done more side stuff than story. And it's I'm not far. Like I'm a little bit after when you go to the fucking the thing that Harry works at,
right?
The May's thing, whatever. A little bit after that,
Emily May, the
Emily May Institute or whatever. And I don't remember the games being this QTE heavy early on in terms of the main missions. So I do a lot of the side stuff to kind of break that up. Because there's a lot. There's like literally 10, 15 minutes go by and all you're doing is hitting R1 and R2, L2 at the same time, or R1 and square.
I find there are less QTEs in this game than the last one. Like when you stop, when you're chasing.
Again, I'm early.
Yeah, so. when you're chasing cars, like doing like the normal. Crime
I'm talking this main story stuff though. It's especially that first bit when you're. Well, I mean, it's not spoiler. I guess nothing's really a spoiler. The super beginning. But when it's kind of introducing you to all the stuff you're using, like even the Sandman fight, it was really cool. But it takes a lot from God of War, and most of that fight is technically a glorified QTE. So and then it kind of continues that for a while. Yeah, it's not the kind of QTE where you're literally watching like a cinematic and you're hitting a button here and there, because they give you control. But you really can't do anything. But it's when they're teaching you how to do the leaping to each thing, like to the web zing. I don't know what they call it, zipping to like perches. But you're kind of like underground. You're on the ship in the submarine or whatever, and all you do, like, it gives you full control, but you can only do one thing, and that's do that to like 4 times in a row. Then you see a cutscene, then you do that again. I'm just like, okay. It's just something I was like, I don't remember it being like this. So maybe it kind of gets better with that because it's just teaching you shit.
Yeah, I think it might be just early game.
And I actually don't mind that because I'm fine with that kind of stuff.
I think you'll find that issue is rectified pretty quickly as you continue through the game because like I love the Sandman scene. I think it's
I thought it was awesome.
I think it's really awesome, but like the boss fight itself is not a great indication of what boss fights are going to be like later on in the game, because they actually start to get more like traditional character action game boss fights, which are really, really fun and challenging in their own right. Coming off of Liza P, where you have to like perfect parry time. This game has a extremely generous parry. An extremely generous parry.
I love it.
So when you're going up against
I like the sound of that.
When you're going up against a major boss, if you've played some Liza P or something like that, if you've ever struggled with parrying, you don't have to worry about it in this game because you will be a parry master. They call you Perry Mason up in his bit.
As long as you find the right button. That was my problem when I ran into that.
Exactly. I actually empathize with that, Chris. I'm thinking of the control schemes for both Spider-Man and Final Fantasy 16, and those would be two very difficult schemes to play at the same time.
It took me about 2 hours of Spider-Man yesterday, to realize I can't do this. I can't do this right now. I need to put this aside. I need to finish Final Fantasy, and then I can come back to Spider-Man because
if you did it the other way, you would have went back to Final Fantasy and had the same fucking issue.
Same fucking issue, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm just going to put all my focus into Final Fantasy right now, and I'll have very little Spider-Man to talk about. As I said, I only got about 2 hours in, and then and then I'll come back to it after I'm done. And I think that was just the right way to do it. But I mean, I don't disagree, Travis. Like it definitely feels like the two games before it, and that's not a bad thing at all. Like out of the gate, I immediately knew how to do the web swinging. It all came right back. As soon as they would say, the perch thing, like you could do that. And like the first time I did the perch, I immediately hit X. As soon as I hit the ground, it all just came right back. So I think that's just a testament to how well they did that in the first place. It was just the combat. Like when I was in combat, I was getting my ass handed to me by peons. and so I'll have to go back and get used to it once I finish up. But that first brute that pops out when they introduce the parry, that was rough, man. I died on that point. I'm like, okay, I gotta figure this out. So
the way they do the gadgets in this is also way better than the other two games. I love it.
I didn't like it. I didn't like it at first.
Like the level up gadgets.
Yeah, like the ones you share between Miles and Spider, and then also the individual ones, because it's just attached to L1 and R1 instead of having a radial wheel that you have to bring up every time. And it's just, it took a while to get used to, because especially being on two different sides. But once you get in a rhythm of it and you kind of do it by muscle memory, it's like the combat flows so much better. And that's saying something about the combat.
What do you use, R1 or L1?
L1's the specific Spider-Man. If you're using Miles or Spider-Man, then R1 is the ones that are shared between, like the gadgets, like the multiple web, like
concussion grenades,
drone thing.
Stuff.
Yeah, that type of stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that was the one thing that concerned me a little bit, is going from Miles and back to Peter, because they do have different move sets. Has that been a problem?
No,
they kind of do combat
similar things.
They operate very similarly. Like they have the same move sets for every intent and purpose.
Yeah, like you'll have one area attack that's kind of just a different animation with a different thing. Like Spider-Man's got those cloth, the legs, the metallic legs. And where like Miles has the venom powers.
The venom power, yeah.
Yeah, so the difference is the metallic arms will slam on the ground, throw up the enemies, and Spider-Man follows them. And whereas the venom thing, he kind of slams the ground like himself. Yeah. So they do similar things with just different animations that look cool. So you're not like, oh shit, which button? Then again, you guys are further. I know you can open up different shit and you can switch stuff out, like in Final Fantasy 16. So I don't know how that works. If that's
I haven't touched it, and I've really only integrated or touched the skill system initially. I think to get the powers, everything. I'm sitting at 17 skill points right now.
Holy shit.
And I'm just like, I don't know what I want to spend these on, to be honest.
Yeah.
You know what, Jason, I do that in these types of games anyway, though, because
I get like a 5 or something.
A lot of times, if I'm comfortable with where I'm at gameplay wise, I won't drop any points into anything until I get to a point where I'm like, you know what, I can really use this skill right now, and then I'll go spend the points on that skill. Yeah, I mean I always do that
way of doing it,
but. Yeah, everything has been pretty lackluster. After the initial, givings of the main powers, the upgrades to those powers isn't really significant. At least it's not. I don't know, not to me.
And you're close to the end, so you've been pretty fine with it throughout most of the game, anyway.
Definitely.
Interesting. I don't know.
Miles Morales was special because it trimmed the fat of Spider-Man, right?
Oh,
and now we're kind of back to like all that glut and all these side missions and such.
They've done two things. Sorry, I'll let you finish, but there's two things that they brought back that I'm like, why? But go ahead.
I mean, some of the side missions are, I don't know. They do a little bit as far as the world building is concerned, but there's not a ton of payoff for doing these side missions, other than a wink and a nod, some fan service here and there. But that's really about it. Like one of the missions that I'm doing is I'm riding a bike through a fucking park, and it's ridiculous. Like Pete goes into his normal everyday outfit, and he's like, "Okay, I'm going to ride this electronic bicycle, and this is my mission. This is what I do. This is what I mean."
On the flip side, because that's for the Emily May Foundation missions and stuff, and I mean, at least they're mostly different.
Yeah.
Mostly different. I think there's like 3 or 4 different activities you can do, so you can do every activity at least 2 or 3 times. So at least you're not doing the same thing over and over and over again. It's not the most fun thing, like riding a bike and it malfunctions on you, so you have to get it to the finish line before it blows up on you. Like it's different and not the highlight of the game, but at least they're trying different things, I guess. Like I want to give Insomniac at least that credit that they're trying to think outside of the box, because it has to be kind of hard.
But I mean,
it has to be hard to develop.
They're padding the game, with things to do, and I'm just saying that some of those things are falling flat.
Do you think it's they had a hard time balancing, because they don't Metroid you in this? In terms of the
they kind of do.
They don't. A lot of the stuff you get in the first 2 games are to do with getting around the city and things like the holding X thing. Isn't that something you open up in one of the skill trees in the first one when you zip line to something and then hit X to vault off of it?
Yeah, that's automatic.
So that's like that. That's something you would get and be like, oh, that's cool. That's an immediate like, okay, that's awesome. But so many of those things now you can do right off the bat, so they can't really think of something that. I wonder if that's where they kind of like struggled. They're like, okay, well, we want to give you cool shit for rewards, but
how do you answer for you had this tool in the first game?
Yeah, because they don't have it. Yeah, because if they took it all away, it'd be like, what the hell?
Right. So, a good example of that is like your normal web shooters. Your web shooters are always activated, always on, and you hit them by R1. But you can go into your suit mods and you can progressively make your web shooters more powerful. They can hold more shots. And at the very end, the very, very final tier, I think there's 10 tiers that you can level up. The highest tier, they give you an ability, which was a standard ability in the first game. If you shoot an enemy with a web at point blank range, they'll go flying. And that was a specific web that you had in the first game. So there are certain things, there are certain things that were upgrades in 1 that are just automatically given to you in 2 for sure. But there are instances where the inverse is definitely in play. But I overall like the decisions that they made. I think you're right, Jeff. Like like how do you sit and make those calls? Like, okay, we don't want to make you too powerful, just kicking off the game, but like we can't necessarily just completely nerf you without a story reason. And I'm glad they really generally didn't go in that direction. But yeah, I mean, overall, I'm pretty happy with it. I mean, I know
fun of the story for sure.
I keep boasting like the iterative nature of it and everything, but at least everything is improved in a certain way. Like, yeah, I know Jason's right. Some of the side quests can fall flat, but they are an improvement. I mean, like performance was good in the first game. I feel like performance is an improvement. I
wouldn't know.
Loading is something that was already an improvement when it was introduced to us in Spider-Man, and that's even way better. Those guys, Insomniac, are just straight up magicians. They should run a clinic on how to develop video games so every other developer can at least get on par with what Insomniac's doing. I understand budgets are different, team sizes are different everywhere you go, but a AAA game I feel like what Insomniac has done for the performance and how well this game loads, like it is untouchable.
Insomniac has pretty much single-handedly carried this generation in regards to games that make this generation worth it in terms of like tech. Like they're 3 for 3 now. And there's other games, of course, that are examples of being like, oh shit, yeah, this I can't see being done on older consoles. But yeah, they've been killing it, and they've put out 3 games in 3 years. So yeah.
So what are the rest of you doing?
And I think and again, it's because my plebe ass is playing on 30 frames, but I think there's a big jump in visuals with all the stuff they have going on in there. But outside of facial animation and stuff like that. But yeah, I've been taking lots of photos. I'm like, I usually don't do this shit. Like, I'm just like, this game looks so good. I'm enjoying it. I didn't get to play a lot of it yesterday. I had other things I had to get done and things I got delayed, but tomorrow I intend to. I'm enjoying it.
I understand.
I like it so far. Quite a bit.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
But I think the next one will be I think that the next one though will be when my burnout would set in. Kind of like it did with God of War, like almost any franchise I really like that goes beyond like 4 games, I start to get burnout. So, but luckily Wolverine's coming in between. So,
boy, yeah, couldn't be more hyped for Wolverine. Insomniac doesn't need to prove anything else. Like, we know what to expect with them. Like, I still don't think they're on that Sony Santa Monica level yet. Like,
in terms of character animation, I don't think they are.
Yes. Agreed. But they're close.
Yeah, you still see a lot of Sunset Overdrive in this because that's like the same engine, and especially with the character models, not the detail, but the way they animate and look. But
in my opinion, the more Sunset Overdrive that they can put in the Spider-Man, the better.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I'm enjoying it, man. I'm digging.
They need to have some oozy orange pop that turns everyone into zombies and then have you grail on rides. Yeah. Grind on rails. Perfect. That's what they need to add for Spider-Man 3.
All right. Hey, anything else?
Not for now.
Until next week for me.
Yeah, I'll have probably more to say next week when I'm a lot further. You guys will probably be finished.
Probably.
Yeah, more than likely.
Definitely. Yeah.
Oh man, is that a wrap then? Or are we done?
I think
That's
so.
a wrap.
Okay. Well, that is a show, folks. Thank you for listening. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please tell a few friends about us. Like, subscribe, and comment. All those things do a lot for us, and we really appreciate it. You can also check out our LINKTREE, which is below. You can also get there by typing interactivedistractions.com. And I think that's about it. Come join our Discord now that it is open to everybody. We'd really love to hang out and chat with you guys. But until next time, my name is Chris.
I'm Travis.
I'm Jason.
I'm Jeff.
Play your games, and we'll talk to you next time.